The Lord hath made. We're here to rejoice. We're here to be glad in it. Welcome to Biblecast. I'm E. Dewey Smith, and welcome to the House of Hope. I'm so excited that you're here, whether you've tuned in by Apple TV, Roku, Twitch, Amazon, Fire TV, YouTube, the various websites, Facebook, WLVO Channel 21 TV here in Atlanta. However you've tuned in, thank you for your viewership. Your viewership means the world to us here. Do me a favor, call a friend, call a relative, call an associate, call a neighbor, and let them know that we're on the air. Let them know that something great is happening here today. And I thank God for you, and you. Listen, for you to think enough of us, to take a time out of your schedule to tune in, and we don't want you to think that we take this for granted. We don't want your time to be wasted. And we're praying that you get a daily dose of hope. We're hope dealers here. And our aim is to empower you and to let you know that life with God is better in every way, every day. We just want you to live better. As we live better, that's what I hope our aim is. My personal mission, I've placed on earth to be a messenger of hope, but my job is to do my best to introduce people to Jesus. That's what I want to do in order to produce kingdom citizens, to reduce Satan's impact upon the globe. And so I'm here. That's my personal mission statement. I want to introduce people to Jesus in order to produce kingdom citizens, to reduce Satan's impact upon the globe. That's what we're here about. And I hope that you have tuned in today to be blessed by that. So thank God for you, and you. Listen, you can go to the website and actually download the entire outline. It's there. Once you download it, and you can study along with us. It's going to be a great, great time. This month, our team came up with the great concept that this is a time this is called progress report. It's important to know that, because when you think about progress reports, our students are going back to school, and the teachers are going back to school. College students are getting ready. My son Colin is starting his classes this week at Morehouse as a freshman. You know, we got people in med school and law schools and pre-K, and some who are going off the EIT and military. And so much is about back to school shoppings, back to school giveaways. But the truth is, for those of us who are believers, we've been in school all year. And for many of us, we've completed 7 months of this year, but we've yet to receive a progress report. And so this month is progress report. We want to see how we've done. We want to stop and evaluate certain areas and certain things that we've taught on this year to see where we just hearers of the word. Did the lesson go in one ear and out the other? Or when the seeds were sown, did it really fall on good ground? Have these seeds produced any fruit in your life? And so we want to do that. And so I'm thankful for your viewership. And so early on this year, we taught about me and my money. And this was profoundly practical and personal for me, because I've been praying for our members in our online community about finances, because so many people are struggling in this area. And not just that, but I'm praying for our church, things that some financial goals that we have set, and also my own personal goals that I have set for myself, that I really, really want to be intentional and deliberate about a meeting and seeing those goals to come to fruition this year. And because a lot of times I believe financial instability and financial struggle is a thing that keeps a lot of us from being refueled. A lot of people really are hemorrhaging. And a lot of people are running on fumes, seemingly. In many instances, is a direct result of finances. And so I want to take some time, and we want to go back and review what we taught about finances and give a few more things, because here's the reality. Our finances start with our thinking. If Proverbs 23:7 says, "For as a man or woman thinks in their heart, so is he." Everything really starts with the mindset. Mindset, I don't care how gifted you are, how talented you are, the mentality, the thought life is so vitally important. We got to set our affections, our minds on things that are above. How we view money, how we think about money, but then also having a theology about money. These things are very, very, very important. And so what is your theology around finances? And what I mean by theology, I don't want to just throw that word out like everybody understands that. because we hear that word theology, but what does it really mean? What does theology really mean? Another way of saying that is how does your view of God impact your finances? That's a better way of saying it. How do you integrate God into your finances? Do you believe there's an integration? Do you believe God is connected to your finances? That's another way of saying theology. You got me? Do you have a godly view, a God connection? Do you keep God and your finances separated? Do you have a theology regarding finances? If not, that could be an issue, okay? And so we want to discuss ways to refuel and systematic ways to become financially well. You know, we talk about how we have wellness of soul and wellness of spirit, you know, caring for the soul, you know, self-care. What about financial care? A part of our self-care could be stabilizing ourselves financially, because it's hard to even care for yourself when you are really under pressure, under the gun financially. So part of self-care may be this whole idea of working through where we are financially. And so it's imperative we do that, become financially literate. So last week we talked about the story of the steward and the owner who gave talents to one servant, gave 5 to another, 2 to another 1. How the one who had 5 was a good steward and multiplied his. The one who was given 2 went out and multiplied his, but the one who was given 1 went and buried his. And how the owner referred to that servant who buried his talent, who hid his talent, called him wicked, which basically intimates that how we handle our finances will one day bring about the judgment of God. We got to give account, basically, because we're stewards. And so a couple of things I want to say to you today about stewardship, questions I want you to consider about financial wellness. And these are only outline. If you want to get the outline, go to our website, hohatl.org, and click the resources link, and you can find this August 14th Bible study right there. Let's ask a few questions. Why should you tithe? Why should you tithe and give offerings? Why should you tithe and give offerings? A lot of people have different perspectives on it. Some people think they shouldn't do it. I want to say a couple of things about tithing. First of all, I've heard people who are critics of tithing say you shouldn't do it because tithing is in the law. It's in the law of Moses and you shouldn't do it. Well, first of all, tithing was before the law of Moses. So tithing commenced in the book of Genesis chapter 14. The story there about Abraham and Melchizedek, who was called the king of Salem. He's a type of Christ. It's a Christ typology. Now, this is important to understand because Moses doesn't come on the scene until 430 years later. And so tithing didn't start with the Mosaic law. Tithing was around 4 centuries biblically before Moses was ever born, when Abram paid tithes to Melchizedek, who was this mysterious creature who's a typology of Christ, the king of Salem. He represents Christ in the Old Testament, and how tithes was paid to the king, all right, of all. That's Genesis 14, around verse 20 throughout the remainder of the chapter. So tithing was commenced by Abram. But then tithing is commanded by Moses in Leviticus 27, 30, and 31, when Moses, 430 years later, says the tithe is holy and belongs to God. The tithe, Greek word there is dekatos, which means 10th of one's earnings. So tithing was commenced by Abram. Tithing is commanded by Moses. So it's commenced by Abram. It's commanded by Moses. Tithing is also commended by Jesus. It's commended by Jesus. In Matthew 23:23, Jesus says, "Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, because you pay tithes of mint and anise and cumin." He says, "But you've omitted the weightier things of the law, judgment, mercy, and faith. These things ought ye to have done, and not left the other undone." What he's saying is you were giving, but you forgot about justice and mercy and faith. He said, it's one thing to give, but you got to be holistic. Don't just give and forget about judgment, mercy, and faith, But similarly, don't just be concerned about justice, mercy, and faith to the exclusion of tithing. He says, these things ought ye to have done and not left the other undone. Jesus tithe. Jesus tithe. So it was commenced by Abram. It's commanded by Moses. It's commended and continued by Jesus. So if Abram commanded it, if Abram commenced it, Moses commanded it, Jews continued it, Jesus commended it, who are you and I to cancel it? The tithe is holy and it belongs to God. All right. And so the question happens now. So I believe in tithing, right? But I don't want to tell people, put pressure on people. And I think sometimes people disagree with me over this. But when people who are having a shortfall in their lives, or people who have difficulty managing it, people who can't pay their rent, people who can't, in those instances, I believe that grace, and I believe that a structure and a strategy. I don't believe if a person can't pay their rent, and if it comes down to paying their tithes and paying rent, that they should pay their tithes. That's just not my personal belief. People argue with me all the time, it belongs to God. Some people say the reason why they struggle because they're not tithing. Well, that's not always true. Other situations, everything in life, financial, not black and white. I believe it's best we should put God first. I've heard people say, well, if it doesn't fit your need, it's your seed. And so if your rent is $1,000 and you only have $400, well, you might as well give your tithes because you don't have enough to pay your rent anyway. I heard all that kind of stuff. I don't necessarily subscribe to that. I do believe you ought to do everything in your power to pay your tithes, but not at the expense of not paying your mortgage. I just don't personally believe that. I believe that God knows the heart. I believe that you all ask God and find other ways that you can put God first in your finances to manage those windfalls and those shortfalls. And don't make excuses, because sometimes you get in a pattern, well, I'm not going to do it. No, I think you need to hurriedly get into a plan, because I think God honors tithes. But I think that we manage those moments. What happens when I have a shortfall? What happens when I don't have it? What happens when I don't have anything to tithe with? Because life has happened. Divorce, job loss, sickness, bad stewardship, child gets sick, insurance, car accident, deductible, medical deductible. Life can happen sometimes. And I just think that we should be gracious in those areas. I don't necessarily believe that everything in those moments is black and white. I just don't believe it. I do believe we should get back to the point where God is prioritized and we hurriedly try to fix it. But I do believe we need to talk through some things and not just beat people over the head because they go through windfalls in life. Here's another question. Are you not able to tithe because you are an emotional spender? Are you a money miser? Do you have a budget? If you can't tithe because you're not being responsible, if you can't tithe because you don't have a budget, you're being wasteful, that's another thing. That's not emergency. If not tithing because you're spending $10 a day at Starbucks and $15 a day at Chick-fil-A, come on, help me here, somebody, and spend another $100 a week on Uber Eats, and you can't tithe, then I believe those areas is not an issue of emergency. That's an issue of management and structure and priority. I think we got to put God first and be good. Do you have a budget? Why or why not? These are questions that we need to ask, right? Financial wellness refers to the state of having a healthy and balanced financial life. It involves effectively managing one's financing, including income, expenses, savings, debt, and investments. Financial wellness encompasses being in control of one's financial situation, having the ability to meet financial goals, and feeling confident and secure about your financial future. It goes beyond just having a high income, but rather focuses on achieving a sense of stability and overall well-being in relation to money. Now, I said a whole lot right there, and what I want us to realize is it's a process. Many of us didn't have a rich uncle to pay all the tuition, or a rich aunt, a rich grandmama to give you money for your down payment on your house. Many of us didn't come from generational wealth. Many of us had to pull it out of our own bootstraps. Many of us got student loans. And so walking into generational wealth is not something that a lot of us have not been able to do. So these lofty ideas about financial wellness, they're practical, but it's going to require discipline. It's going to require a strategy and a structure and work. And the only place where success comes before work is the dictionary. And so these things should help us to plan our thoughts. How do I get to a certain place with my savings and investing? How do I get to a certain place if I want to get married and buy a home? How do I get to a certain place where I want to be a parent one day? Or how do I get to a certain place where I want to own my business and be able to get my own building, etc.? Well, these are things that are part of the whole financial plan that you just can't wake up in the morning and think it's just going to come by osmosis. Like, what are the strategies to get there? What are the strategies? Some of us have been in some tough, dire situations, whether it be legal, whether it be through, as I said, medical, things that you weren't aware of. But how do you get yourself out of those things? How do you depend on God? What kind of wisdom? Who have you brought in your life to help you navigate those moments? I'm here to tell you it's possible. Financial freedom is possible, but it will not come overnight and without a plan. I don't care who you are. If you listen to me, I don't care how bad it looks, how difficult it has been. I still believe with 2 fish and 5 barley loaves that Jesus is able to multiply it and can change your life. I believe it with everything that's in me. So I want to share that with you. I don't care what it looks like, how bad it is. I believe I believe God is Jehovah Jireh. I believe if God clothes the lilies with beauty and splendor, how much more? If God watches over the sparrow, how much more will God watch over you if you seek first the kingdom of God? I still believe, regardless of human circumstances, that God will take care of God's children, that God will supply your needs. I wish somebody would say yes right there. God will supply your needs. So we talked last week about a couple principles. Number one, God is the owner. We're the stewards. I'm going to repeat that again. God owns everything. Psalm 24:1, the earth is the Lord's, the fullness thereof, the world and they that dwell therein. So God is the owner. I am just a steward. Okay, that's the first principle. So it's not my money, my house, my car. So fella, those you got a little money, you make more money than your wife, and you want to use your money to abuse her or put yourself in a position of power, saying, I'm the king of the castle. It's my money. I'm King George. No, you're not. You're not King. You're not King Kong. You're Curious George. No, everything we have, it belongs to God. Everything we have, it belongs to God. God gives it to us to manage, right? God is the owner. It's God's by ownership. It's God's, and it's ours by stewardship. Please notice that debt is a new form of slavery. The borrower is a slave to the lender. Many of us don't realize that even though slavery was supposedly outlawed by the Emancipation Proclamation, and we just celebrate Juneteenth, when the final people enslaved in Texas heard news that the Emancipation Proclamation had been signed, they were free. And so right now, slavery may not look like some colonial place or some plantation, but slavery has a new name. Now it's called MasterCard, American Express, Visa, Rent, Georgia Power, student loans. Slavery has a new name. And it's important that we realize that we do everything we can to have a plan to get out of that type of slavery, because the borrower is a slave to the lender. And debt, I'm telling you, debt, nothing can stress you out more than debt. Nothing can. Nothing can stress you out more than debt. Nothing can put pressure on you. Debt has put a lot of people in the grave prematurely. Debt has led to heart attacks and strokes. Debt has led to divorce. Debt has led to insanity and nervous breakdowns. Debt is a demon from the pits of hell. And that's why it behooves us to have a plan and a strategy, and people around us, resources, and Lord, and the evaluation. How am I doing? And how am I working myself out of this? Because debt is not fun. All right. But here's a principle of stewardship as well. Proverbs 3:9. If we trust in the Lord with all our hearts and lean not to our own understanding, but in all our ways acknowledge him, he will direct our path. And if we honor the Lord with our substance and the first fruits of our increase, He'll fill our home, He'll fill our home, our barns with plenty. That's Proverbs 3, 9, and 10. Honor the Lord. Trust the Lord. If we trust the Lord with all our hearts, if we honor the Lord with what He gives us, He will supply. God will fill our barns with plenty to make sure that we don't go begging for bread. All right? So here's why we need to reset our financial priorities. Number one, we need to reset our financial priorities by seeking the kingdom of God. All right? By putting God first. That's 1A. 1B, prioritizing giving and generosity. I just talked about giving. The Bible says when you make a loan to the poor, you lend it to God. Giving, generosity, moves the heart of God. Right? 1C, contentment and avoiding the love of money. The Bible says the love of money is the root of all evil. Nothing wrong with money, but the love of it. When people fall in love with money, they will do anything for it. So the love of it. So contentment, having food and raiment, Paul said, I've learned how to be content. Right? I don't have to have everything. I don't have to be, Madison Avenue's finest. Let me have food and raiment. Let me be content with what I have. I will be content in every circumstance. All right. And then I want to honor the Lord my first fruit. So that's how I reset it. Here's how I refuel my financial resources. Proverbs 12:11 says, I got to work and embrace the value of labor, because it talks about how money doesn't come to the one who's sleeping or the sluggard. Right. I gotta really embrace. I really got to really embrace and realize this. The Bible talks about these quick, get rich quick schemes. Anything that comes quickly is ill-begotten. It's probably not going to be long kept. Right? It's a process. It takes time. All right? Here's another one. Managing debts and avoiding financial oppression. Borrows a servant to the lender. How do I manage my debt to keep myself from being oppressed? How do I manage it? That's very, very important. Number 3. Number 2C, saving and investing for the future. That's Proverbs 21:20. Saving and investing for the future is very, very important to help us to get where we need to be. There's another one, seeking God's guidance and provision. When we give to God, and Paul said in Philippians 4:13, he says to the church of Philippi, when I was struggling, y'all were generous and y'all blessed me. Because y'all blessed me, now my God shall supply your needs. There are blessings when we give, and God will supply our needs. Here's another one. How do you reset your finances? I talked about this last week. Assess your financial situation. How do you assess it? Get every bill you have and write it out. From the most that you owe to the lowest. Write the name of the person you owe. Write the amount you owe on a monthly basis. Write the interest rates. Write how long you got left on it. If it's a contractual loan, if it's a mortgage or something, a car, how long you got to pay on it. Typically, they'll tell you how many, if it's we're talking about those fixed things. You should know when your payoff date is on your house or payoff on any kind of loan. When is the payoff date? Credit cards, what is the amount owed, and what's the interest rate, and what time of the month is it due? You need to know that. Student loan, whatever your bills are, and write them all down on a sheet of paper from the highest to the lowest. Assess it, look at it. Go and get your credit report to make sure there's nothing on the credit report. Equifax, you can get free. Most credit agencies, you can get one free credit report per year. Right? Go ahead and order your credit report. If you think about getting married, order one for your spouse. Don't ever marry nobody that you ain't checked their credit. I don't care what they say. Check the credit. Y'all share and exchange each other's credit report. If they can't share your credit report, you can't share no kisses at the altar. Share that up front to know what you're getting in. Marriage is not just about love now. It's really a business decision. Because when you marry them, you take on their responsibilities. You need to know what the other is. And you really should know that before you say I do. Right? So you know what I'm getting into. Right? If they have other children, a previous relationship or whatever, you need to know that. Get all the amounts, what all they owe. No secrets. Because a lot of times when you marry, how you gonna file your taxes? Because a lot of times you marry, if you live in the same place, sometimes you become liable for their assets, right? Or whether or not you're gonna have a prenup agreement. These are things you got to talk through on the front end of the relationship. All right, talk it through. All right. So evaluate your income expenses, reviewing your debt and savings. So then set some financial goals. What are your short-term goals? What are your long-term goals? These things need to be written. What are your short-term goals? What are your long-term goals? Then create a budget. They're all kind of apps now on your phone where you can track your expenses, right? I like keep mine in a checkbook ledger. I'm still old school, because those debit cards will kill you now because you keep charging the card, but there's no record to show you what you charge. And I like to keep mine in a register so I can go look at it. If you swipe that card, put it in there, right? Make the deposit, put it in there, right? So I still write checks sometimes, but if you don't write checks, I know y'all think I'm crazy, but if you're not that sharp with it, write it down because you'll forget if you're not careful. I like to know where I am, right? And but that may not work for you. But set a budget so you can track your income and your expenses. How much you spend for food a week? How much you spend on clothes? How much you spend on Uber? How much you spend on Lyft? How much you spend on Uber Eats? How much do you spend a week on lunch? Would it be cheaper for you to make your own lunch? I mean, really assess this thing. What do you spend on your subscriptions? What do you spend on Netflix and Prime and Hulu and Apple TV and Apple Music, whatever subscription base, EA Sports, whatever you spend, whatever because those things add up. $9, $10, $12, $20. How much do you spend on those things? What do you spend on your internet service? Do you have cable at the house? Do you have YouTube TV? Do you have DirecTV or Charter or Comcast? How often do you watch it? Do you find yourself watching more on YouTube online? Would it be cheaper for you to stream? These are some things you got to do to really assess it to see how can I cut back in certain areas to know where I am, to know the state of my flaw, my stall. Identify areas of improvement, right? Very, very important. And so we're going to be talking about this and all week, right? All week we're going to talk about it. So here are a few things I want to share with you in closing. Because I told you money is a mentality, or we should have a mentality. How has your faith influenced your financial decisions? How has your faith influenced your financial decisions and mindset recently? Have you integrated your faith in with your finances? 2, what specific steps have you taken to improve your financial literacy in the past few months? 3, can you share any changes you've noticed in your financial mindset or habits since our last discussion? Any changes? 4, have you encountered any challenges in changing your financial approach to money management, and have you addressed them? I know it, and this can be, listen, this is one of the toughest areas to deal with, especially when life finds itself lifing, right? It can be tough. It can be tough. All right. 5, what financial strategies or resources have you found most helpful in your journey towards greater financial literacy and mindset transformation? All right. 5 ways to start thinking about money differently. Shift from a scarcity to an abundance mentality. Even before you get there, shift from scarcity to abundance. Stop thinking about less than and start having a mentality that I can have more. Instead of focusing on what you lack, cultivate a mindset of abundance. Appreciate what you have and recognize opportunities for growth and prosperity. 2, view money as a tool and not the goal. How are you viewing your money? See money as a means to achieve your goals and aspirations rather than the end itself. Money can't be the end. It should be a tool. 3, embrace learning and financial literacy. Where are you in your financial literacy? Educate yourself about personal finance. Do you understand investments, budgeting, or wealth building strategies? Knowledge empowers better decision making. 4, practice mindful spending. That's very important. Mindful. Sometimes we're not thoughtful when we spend. Practice mindful spending of the whole view. When you spend, what does that look in the whole process? Be conscious of your spending habits. Prioritize needs over wants and consider the long-term impact of your financial choices. Mindful spending aligns your expenditures with your values. Do your expenses line up with your values? The things that you say you value, does your money line up with that? And number 5, cultivate a positive relationship with money. How is your relationship with money going? You got a relationship with it. How's your relationship with money? I see yourself in a relationship with money, not just having it, but in relationship with it, right? Develop a healthy and positive mindset toward money. Avoid stress and anxiety associated with finances by approaching money matters with a proactive and optimistic spirit. Listen, God will provide. Type that in the chat right now. Type that in the chat. God will provide. Type this in the chat. God provide for me financially. I want you to type that in the chat. I want you to believe that God is able right now. Come on. God provide for me financially. I'm telling you, God will do it. I want you to pray with me now. Let's bow. God, I thank you that you do all things well. Thank you that you are Jireh, which means you are more than enough. Now, as we evaluate where we are in August 2024, as we contemplate the next 4.5 months in this year, help us to reach some goals this year. Bring us to some peace this year in our finances. We love you and we bless you. In Jesus' name, amen. Listen, the first step, we talk about having a relationship with money, but you got to have a relationship with God. And that's possible through our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. If you want to have that relationship, I want you to text the word salvation now to the number 678-201-1351. Text that right now. 678-201-1351, that word salvation. Maybe you want to connect with the community that you can do life with. We want you to know that we want you to live better and know that life with God is better in every way, every day. You want to connect with us here? Text that word connect to 678-201-1351. I don't care if you're in Atlanta or Alaska, you can be connected to our ministry today. Lastly, if you want somebody just to pray with you about where you are in your life, text the word prayer to 678-201-1351. Last but not least, if you want to be a blessing, one of the ways to be a blessing is to be blessed is by being a blessing. We talked about giving and generosity. If you've been blessed by this ministry, I want you to sow a seed. The information is on the screen. There's several ways you can give. You can give by text to give, by Cash App, by Zelle. You can give through the website by clicking the giving links and following the prompts accordingly. You can give through the P.O. Box. P.O. Box 361499, Decatur, Georgia 30036. You can give, text to give, Cash App, Zelle, through the website, through the P.O. Box. Give right now and watch God do what God said. Last, we have some resources for you. We're back to our Zoom nights, our Life Night Zoom. So we have 3 other resources for you to be a part of. Tomorrow we got, starting on Monday, we have Zoom on the 19th, and it's going to be there to help you. Also, so Monday, the 19th, the 20th, and also August 22nd, Thursday. And so you can tune in and be blessed by these Zoom nights to continue your discipleship and your walk with the Lord. I'm praying that God's going to bless you and keep you and crown every one of your efforts with abundant favor and success. I gotta leave you now. My time is far spent, but as always, remember this. If you'll be good to God, God will be good to you. Till we meet again, may God bless you. Peace.
Hey family, we are back once again with all the information you need to live better with God.
Yes, and we have some things that we want to share with all of you. So go ahead and get your pens and your papers out right now so you can jot some things down.
Don't listen to him. That's not even necessary. We would like to welcome our new members who just completed our virtual spiritual boot camp.
Oh yeah, but you don't think they want to write some of this down?
Come on.
All right. Well, family, Life Talk discussions are going to resume Monday, August 19th at 7 p.m. Join us as we continue the conversations from First Wednesday's Bible study. To receive the Zoom links and for more information, visit the church website and social media platforms.
Now, Global Family, do you know about our Back to School Month progress reports?
Do you know about them?
Do you? Well, I'm about
Yeah,
to
I do
tell
know
you.
about it because I see it right here. I can,
Our theme for this month is Back to School Month, and weekly we want to hear about your progress. So scan your Fuel QR code to let us know how you're doing.
And for those of you who are part of our global family, if you need prayer, just text the word prayer. If you need care, text the word care. If you would like to be saved, text the word salvation. And if you would like to become a member of the House of Hope Atlanta, please text CONNECT to 678-201-1351.
Join us for Wellness Wednesday for seniors and others who wish to attend. You don't want to miss the workout starting at 10 o'clock a.m. Wellness education is at 11 a.m. And finally, at noon, we'll have our spiritual wellness with Bible study and a light snack. AARP is also sponsoring our 4th Wellness Wednesdays. So you don't want to miss their presentations every 4th Wednesday. You can register by texting wellness to 678-201-1351 or visit the church's website for more information. So come out and join the movement.
And we need your help, your help, and your help, and your help, and your help.
Please and thank
Your
you.
help is needed for the Outreach Ministries toiletry collection for the entire month of August. Our back-to-school hygiene and toiletry items are needed for Morris Brown College students. Now, the sample items needed are toothbrushes, toothpaste, lotion, lip balm, feminine hygiene products. And for a complete list of products, please visit the church website or contact the church office. You can drop off your contributions at the collection bins outside the Theaterplex or the atrium on Sundays and through the week during church hours.
We're going to let you all go for now, but until next time, remember that life with God is better in every way. Every day, be blessed.
You didn't think it was good for them to write some of that down? Because that's a lot of
They could always just
information.
go back and rewind this part.
If they would play us on the YouTube
Ooh.
and put us on the social media, then people could see
The
Hope
shade.
Happenings more regularly,
The shade.
because they have to go through a whole service and fast forward or rewind to find us. But if they would put it on, yeah, I'm saying it. Yeah, I'm saying it because you didn't. I'm gonna say it. I ain't Shane. You know, you hindering my black job. You know, I'm just trying to do my black job. No, I'm doing too much as usual.
Too much.
We're gonna go because
Bye,
they're gonna be
y'all.
mad.
Bye.
Okay.